Hello, Capricorn. This is Carrie Mubarak at wooingnature.life. I hope you all are doing well. This is your reading for January 2020. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's going to be happening during 2020 and what the astrology is for the month of January, because January and 2020 is all about foundation building. So literally we're going into a foundation building year and starting out January with a lot of foundation building energy. So I feel like January is really going to be setting the pace, as it always does, but this year in a particular fashion. January is setting the pace for the rest of the year. So I want you to just take a minute to focus on the last year. Always at the end of a year or beginning of a new one, you need to take a moment just to reflect on what the major lessons were, what the major transitions were, what were things that kept coming up for you over and over and over again. You want to pay attention to those things. If you could categorize them and then give a one-word label for each one of those things that comes up for you repeatedly, Capricorn, then you'll have a good list of what you are of the lessons that you learned, or knowing that there was a lot of work being done around those one or two things, or three things, or whatever it was. And then leading into the new year, you want to think that those lessons have been assimilated, they've been properly assimilated. So now, what are the new rules? What are the new rules for yourself moving forward? And how are you going to set yourself up, for the year 2020? How are things going to be different? How are they going to reflect the lessons that you've learned? So you have gotten through a lot of stuff. You have assimilated a lot of information, and a lot of there's been a lot of frequency modulations, if you will, frequency modulations all during 2019. So now you've got your 2020 here. The two twos numerologically break down to a four. So how are you building new foundations, and what do those new foundations have to have for you to be able to operate in the alignment with your purpose and with what it is that you have been designed to do? If you're not clear about that, Capricorn, yet, if you're still wandering around, or you still feel like you're not really sure what your purpose is, I would highly recommend you get a reading that will determine that. And there are a few readings that you can access through the website. And the website information is below, so that you can start to unravel that. There's nothing. There are no beginnings and endings, so to speak. A beginning is an ending is a beginning in the life cycle. And so if you don't feel like you're at that place yet, that's fine. Take 2020 to get that done, because that in and of itself is going to build a firm foundation. So 2020, you can expect to feel this ebb and flow of energy. There's this ebb and flow. There's going to be, lots of opportunities that are coming our way. There's going to be a lot of things coming in for us to look at. I really see the Seven of Cups as sort of the model for those of you who are into tarot. The Seven of Cups is really kind of the energy of the flow part, right? And then the ebb part is really assessment time. It's time to look within if you're doing personal work. If you're talking about professional work, then you'll want to take a look at where you are right now, and then where you want to be, and then what systems do you need to put in place for yourself to be able to reach that goal? For some of you, it's going to be about a discipline of some sort. You may need to say, you know what, this is an example. I'm getting ready to start my own business, but I don't have time, or I feel like I don't have time. Then you make the time, you set the time aside to work toward building your business, and then you stick to it. So it could be about that for some people. So there's going to be this kind of ebb and flow. There's going to be lots of opportunities that present themselves, and then you're going to have to make a personal assessment as to whether or not these opportunities are good for you. You're going to have to make some decisions. Don't jump at it, the first thing that comes your way. Really use your discernment, Capricorn. So if something comes your way and it doesn't feel right, don't pick it. I don't care, how desperate you may feel at the moment. Don't do that. Just stick to the plan. Stick to the plan and make sure that that you have your plan in place. Again, if you don't have a plan in place, which I doubt because most Capricorns have a plan in place, but not everybody does. So if you are looking to do some plans, we do personal development plans, and we also do professional development plans, and these are based on your spirit, your mind, your body, spirit, and your emotional, whatever you need as a whole person. We try not to do coaching and personal development or professional development strictly off the spiritual. It's spiritual, it's material, it's all of those things blended together. A lot of times people go into certain careers or they go down a certain professional path and they go down it one-sided, meaning, they're only focused on the money and then they're extremely unhappy. And then there's some people who are only focused on, the feel good part of the work, and then then it ends up not being as lucrative as they need it to be. So it's all about bringing the balance to that and bringing all of that together and getting a center focus for yourself. So if you're interested in that, again, you can reach out to me at the email in the description box. I've taken the liberty to look at the astrology for the month of January. I just looked at January because there's an interesting configuration of planets in Capricorn in the month of January, which tells me again that this just corroborates the 2020 notion that we are building and and that we're needing our foundations built. So everything is happening. A lot of things are happening in your sign, Capricorn. And so for some of you, you may get more than other people in the zodiac. When I say get more, there may be an influx of energy coming towards you. You may be feeling yourself more. Jupiter is in Capricorn, so Jupiter is an energizing, expansion planet. So you can expect to feel energized during the month of January, and also you can expect to feel like you're getting an opportunity to expand your horizons. So travel is recommended during the month of January. Connecting with people who are maybe different culture or a different walk of life could be a really good thing for you. Also, there may be some movement happening as far as moving your location, moving homes, moving to new address, new location, all of that, anything that will allow you to expand yourself outside of the box that you're currently feeling yourself being in right now is going to be helpful to you. So feel free, Capricorn, now to take some risks. You all have generally Capricorn energy doesn't Capricorns are usually okay with the restrictions, and even though you may not feel, you may not be in love with it, but it's something that's a part of your makeup, and so you understand why restrictions and discipline and order and taking responsibility is important to the whole. You understand that the Capricorn energy is really like they serve like the bones and the tendons of the body. That's why sometimes Capricorns have issues with bones and tendons, because they really are like bones and tendons themselves. There's structure there in the body, in the overall spiritual body, and then the tendons are what allow the bones to move, but they themselves are stationary. So being still and that kind of thing is something that Capricorn is accustomed to. So this influx of planets coming into Capricorn is really gonna not just solidify it for you, but it's really going to allow you to see even more so how the discipline, the rigor, the structure, the grind that you have been on has been beneficial. You're going to get a chance to see how it is benefiting you, and probably and benefiting the whole as well. Other planets in Capricorn are Pluto and Saturn. I've been talking about this a little bit in some of the other videos. Pluto and Saturn have been there for quite some years, so this isn't new, but it is something that you kind of have to know is going on in the background, and that is a part of that shift that everybody has been talking about as of late. There's always shifts happening, but this is a really significant shift because it's about establishing an overall order. I'm talking about a hierarchical order for all of us, for everybody, no matter what your zodiac sign, race, creed, culture, where you live, doesn't matter. Pluto and Saturn are moving that energy in that direction. So there's some changes that are taking place there, and we are experiencing another ascension. But it's about structure and it's about order because it's in Capricorn. And then we also have Mercury. Mercury is in Capricorn too, so that means your communication model is probably going to be all about business. You're going to be setting some rules and some boundaries. You'll probably be communicating those boundaries to other people, letting people know, I will not be accepting this in the future, or this is how I am going to handle this situation because this is what's best for me. And really starting to communicate the guidelines that are going to, again, make you be able to do your work best. So you have to sit down in the month of January and ask yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose? And then what do I need? And need includes a spectrum of want, because at this point you know that there are things that you actually need to get your job done, the nuts and bolts things, but then there's certain environments that you need to be in order to think optimally. You may not do well in a place where people are nitpicking or like micromanaging you in any kind of way, or controlling you in any kind of way, or trying to um, um, for some of you it may be that, for some of you it may be something else, but the point is, if you are in a situation where you can't work at your best, where it's going to compromise your ability to be efficient and effective in what it is that you do, or how it is that you are able to operate. And this goes for the home as well. So if things are not situated so that you can do your best in the home, in the workplace, in your friend circles, wherever it might be, then you're going to start communicating that to other people. But of course, that means that you're going to have to know what that is for yourself, because nobody's going to believe a lie. Right? You can sit up there and tell people, oh, well, this is how it's going to be. And then, you renege on yourself, or you allow yourself to remove the boundary. And then nobody believes that you're really, about that life. So these are the things astrologically that are happening with everyone. Again, because you are a Capricorn, it's going to, how you assimilate that information is going to be, it's going to be interesting. I'll be curious to know from you how you are interpreting it, and then how you are seeing it manifest in your everyday life. So please send me comments or send me messages and let me know. Say, hey, I'm a Capricorn. This is what's going on in my world, and this is how I'm seeing it, and this is what I am doing. And then we'll see how that's aligned up. I also want to recommend that you revisit this January video throughout the year, periodically throughout the year. Come back to January and just see where you are based on what we're saying right now, because again, this is foundation building, and so it's going to affect the rest of the year. What happens in January is going to affect the rest of the year. All right, so that's what's happening astrologically. This month I'm going to get right into the card readings and the intuitive readings for you. I'm doing a sampling this month for everybody, and that is so that you'll get an idea of what these readings are like. And if you're going to get a personal reading, you'll have a general feel for what that's like when you go to the website to sign up, or to subscribe, or to book yourself, or whatever. And also because I want to make sure that you have a really good, well-rounded look at what's happening, because we are talking about foundations and I want everybody to get a good foundation from the jump. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a medicine wheel reading with a animal totem card. So I'll be doing animal totems. I will be doing the medicine wheel reading. I'm also going to do an I Ching reading for you today, a wealth reading that is going to include oracle and tarot, and then I'm going to finish up with your love reading. All right, so I'm going to take a quick pause. I'm going to grab my cards, get myself organized, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to start off with the medicine wheel reading. The medicine wheel comes from a Native American construct for living and learning and for healing. It is designed to bring balance to any situation. And so the reading is really about balancing and understanding yourself really clearly from all points. So it's a 5-card reading. There's a card in the middle which represents the center or the spirit of you, or where you are right now. And then the other 4 cards are set in the north, south, east, and west positions, which correspond to the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, or to the earth, the air, the fire, and the water. So that really, those are all of the elements, alchemical elements. Those are all of the elements in nature. And so when we look at ourselves from all points, we really are looking at a 360-degree view of you, who you are, how you roll, etc., etc. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those cards, and then I'll also do some explaining as I'm going about where which direction corresponds to what, and etc. So that'll be a little more clearer to you. All right, so as I said, you pull a card right in the middle, and in the middle it says completion. So you have reached a point of completion, probably in the latter part of December, and certainly if it hasn't happened at the point that you're listening to this video or watching this video, then that is going to show up for you probably before the end of the month, leading into January, into February for sure. So you are reaching a point of completion. Again, we're looking at these 4 points. Remember, I said with the medicine wheel, it looks at you from the center, and in the center I see a heart for you. And I'm also seeing the female image here, the image of the vulva or the image of the vagina here. So this tells me that there is there was some heavy work around the feminine. So your feminine energies were either being activated, or they were being invigorated, or there was a clear focus on that area. But now you've reached a completion of that. And again, I have the heart here, or I see the heart there. So it was also a path of heart for you that you were going through, or that you are finishing up. Here it shows the snake eating its tail. That means that there's an understanding of the past. There's an understanding of what you have been through. There's an understanding of the entire journey. And so Capricorn, take this time to reflect on the journey and to see what you've learned from all points: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So look at it from all angles. Don't just look at the one thing. And just kind of keep that focus there and look at all of those things. So I see a lot of things coming together. I see some grounding as well. So, and then also the number 9 up here represents completion. So you've completed a task. You've gotten through the journey. You've finished a lot of the lessons that you had been set here to learn. And then that's going to put you at another, that's going to put you firmly in a new place. So when we talked about looking at new things, new concepts, new realities, and setting new rules for yourself, definitely relates to you, because you are completing something. All right, so in the south, you have the arrow. The south represents the place of childhood, innocence, wonder, experiencing things like they are new. And then also, of course, learning. So this is where you are the student, and you're learning about what it is to shoot straight, what it is to understand yourself, to align yourself. As you can see, the arrow is straight up and down. That represents to me an alignment, that you are aligned with your true self. You're aligned with the creator. You're aligned with your destiny. You're aligned with your purpose. You're clear about it in all points. Again, looking at the mental, all 4 points: mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. All of it is being activated and aligned. Your physical is being activated and aligned with your purpose. So you can expect that you might be learning some new techniques or some new exercises, physical exercises. It could be also that your place where you are, where you live, has to be aligned, because again, we're talking about the physical, aligning the physical, or being aligned physically with your purpose. You have to ask yourself, are you in the right place to do the work that you are designed to do? Are you in the right company to do the things that you're trying to do? Who and where are your support mechanisms, and how are you connecting with those support mechanisms there? Health is going to be important to you. Eating right, is what I'm eating aligning myself with what I'm doing? If you are planning on being a holistic health practitioner, and you're eating garbage, then that may not be aligned with your purpose and what you're trying to actually do. So make sure that what you're saying and what you're doing is in alignment. So that can come in any way. That's physical. We're also talking about mental alignment, aligning yourself mentally with your purpose. That means knowing who you are and what you're here to do, and and being clear about that so that you can communicate it well. Sometimes people feel like they can't communicate what it is that's in them well, or they can't articulate it. That's because you got to get clear about it in your head, what it is that you're doing. And once you're clear about it, and I always say it in 10 words or less. Don't write a script for what it is that you see yourself doing. Do it in 10 words or less. 10 words or less. What are you here to do? And that's it. And then make sure that your thinking is aligned with that. Don't go and flip flop. Well, I really think this, but I'm not sure. That's where the doubt comes in, and that's where the confusion comes in. Emotionally, are you prepared emotionally for what your journey is? What do you need to do that? If you need to seek therapy, or if you need to understand if there's emotional glitches, or if there's holdups in that area, or blockages in that area, you'll want to remove those emotional blocks. Or just get in touch with your emotions, because those things are connected. Your emotions are connected to your intuition. It's also connected to your ability to discern. So it's important that part is clear. And then and then spiritually, everything comes together when all of it is circulating in the right way. So this is what you're doing, and the bulk of your work and learning is about aligning yourself with your truth and being able to let that move you. All right. In the West, you have the wind. So the West, whoops, sorry. The wind just blew it out of my hand. In the West, there is the wind, and the wind is that unseen force. It's that unseen. It's the thing that we feel. We don't see it, but we feel it. And when we feel it, we know it's there. When you feel a breeze coming across your face, you know that it's there. You're being refreshed. You're getting good air. I don't know. You don't have to see it in order to know that it exists, is the point that I'm making here. And this is sitting in the West position, which is the place of what you have already experienced. So what you have experienced is this wind of change. You have experienced the unseen thing that you know that exists around you. Let me take a quick pause. Okay, I had to check on my incense stick. Okay. All right. So again, you have this is the place where experiences have happened for you, and so you understand the unseen, and also some things blew in. Excuse me, during some things blew in for you that weren't seen, that you are now seeing, or that you're now starting to visualize, or you're going to see that those things are now starting to manifest. It's almost like the work that you put in, or the things that were put in, it was almost like you were putting things in a bank. I know that has nothing to do with when, but that's what I'm getting. It's almost like you put things in the bank, like through the years you have done things that probably were unnoticed, or probably not seen, or probably done kind of in secret, but not in secret like as in skeletons in a closet secret, but just things that you did, and they were done without fanfare, or they were done without boasting, or they were done without bragging, or they may have gone unnoticed. But it was almost like you were putting things in the bank. It was almost like money in the bank for you. And so my feeling is that this wind represents those things. Um, and what I want to say about it is, just remember that just because it was not seen doesn't mean it wasn't felt. Go ahead, Capricorn. Love y'all. All right. In the north, we have the Earth Keeper. The north is the place of wisdom. And so your wisdom place is the earth, is in the space of being the earth keeper. So Capricorn, you all are grounding forces for the zodiac. You are connected to the earth sign. You are an earth sign. And so you are therefore an earth keeper. And what earth keeper represents to me is, one, you are connected to the earth, you are connected to nature. You make sure that you keep those things, those practices and those rituals a part of your life. You make sure that you keep them there. And if you're not doing that, you need to do that. Because again, this is the wisdom here. This is your wisdom, but it's also wisdom of the ancients speaking to you through this card. So remember that you are an earth keeper. Remember that you are a grounded soul. Remember that you are here to help ground other people, or help to bring a sense of grounding to those around you. And the earth calls for certain things that other things don't call for. The earth could call for this kind of experience for Capricorn, right? The earth keeper is also, again, somebody who makes sure that we are good custodians of earth, that we are treating the earth as our mother, as our giver. The earth gives to us, gives us food, gives us a way of things and objects that we can create a place to live, and oxygen and all of that. And so we have to be good caretakers of the earth. So if you feel so inclined to get involved with an ecological effort, or something that deals with ecology or study of ecology, or joining a organization that supports the earth and that kind of thing, then I would recommend that for you. But other than that, it's about being a protective spirit over that. And also, I'm seeing in this card the alignment again. I'm seeing the alignment again. It's aligning you on all levels in this card. So I'm getting all the chakras, making sure your chakras are aligned. I'm seeing that for you, Capricorn. So make sure your chakras are aligned during the month of January. If you need chakra alignments, there's plenty of places to do that, including wooingnature.life. So if you want to do that, and we can make arrangements for that. But I'm seeing that the crown chakra is of the utmost importance. But of course, in order for you to be able to activate your crown chakra, all the other chakras have to be in alignment and have to be clear. Okay, and being clear in the chakras is also being clear in the mind about who you are. You can clear your chakras, but if you're mental, if you're mentally not support, if your mind is not supporting that, meaning if you are just go back into the same mental habits that you were having before you cleared your chakra, then you'll just be getting your chakra cleared again, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does make sense to you. So, it's really here and here where the chakras are. Your chakras are energy points, but those energy points are affected by your thoughts. It's affected by your environment. It's affected by the choices that you make. All of that kind of determines whether or not you're blocked or closed or any of that. So it all works together. Don't forget that. All right, and then in the east, oh, I love this one. What a totem. Hummingbird. The hummingbird, you got a totem card, even though I have another totem card for you. So you will be walking with two totems during the month of January, and this one is one of them. This is in the east position. The east position is the open gateway. This is where you have the thresholds that you're crossing and you're going into new territory. It's also the place where we can look for hope and inspiration, but it's also your future, what you're stepping into. So you're stepping into hummingbird energy. The hummingbird is a delightful animal, and if you've ever had the pleasure of seeing one in flight, it's a joy to see because they're just so, they're sprightly and they're tiny and they're, immediately you're just like, ooh. And so that's what people will feel when you show up on the scene, Capricorn. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, who is that? And not just and not in a negative. It's very positive. It's very exciting. The other thing about the hummingbird is its type of flight. So when you see the hummingbird in flight, you don't see, it's not like an eagle soaring flight. It's this light flight. So you'll be here and then you'll be there and then you'll be here and then you'll be there. And really it reminds me that where you think as a man or as a woman thinketh, so is he. Where you think you are, that's where you end up being. So it's almost like thinking yourself, like, you know what, I think I want to be here, and boom, you're there. I think I need to go here, boom, and you're there. And so all throughout the year, and starting in January, you're going to be moving. Again, we said before that movement and travel and that kind of thing is going to be important. So the hummingbird is a significant animal in that regard because literally if you watch them, you can't see their wings. They're going so fast that their wings are going so fast that you literally cannot see them. And then the other thing about a hummingbird is that when it flies, there's a buzz. So it's going to be a little buzz around you too, Capricorn. You can expect that starting in January. The lighthearted energy of the hummingbird plus the flight, the movement, the type of movement, the excitement that people feel, or that burst of energy that people feel when they see the hummingbird, that's what they're going to see when you are on scene. So just kind of take that in and really appreciate that. That's coming in with the number 8. 6 and 2 breaks down to an 8. So this is something that you will be manifesting or that you have been manifesting. It sits on the plane. Again, we talked about the west being the wind and the east being the other, you have the east and the west and they sit on the same plane. And so these two energies are sitting on the same plane in your life. And basically the connecting point is the completion of what you have just finished. So if you look at it from this standpoint, going from west to east, with this being at the center, it's like this energy that's coming in for you is a direct result of what I was saying, that those things that you did that put money in the bank for you. And then look here, we have another totem with the falcon or the hawk. Again, being able to see clearly and being able to see from up high what's going on. So you got another little animal in there that you can roll with too. So that's some powerful stuff. That's some really powerful stuff. And then of course the alignment, again, if you're looking at it from this point, if I had a different camera, I could point this down so you can see it, but hopefully you can see it this way. This is the plane from north to south. So again, you're learning about your alignment and, just really aligning your energy with who you are, and you being the earth keeper, that's the alignment. So part of this completion that you have, I don't want to say completion, part of this completion energy, which includes a journey that you started many years ago and that you're now finishing, involves all of these things. It involves aligning yourself up with your earth keeper spirit, and then also being able to see that those things that were unseen and unnoticed are going to give you flight. And give you a special kind of flight, and make you be able to be in a lot of different places at once. And that's going to be extremely invigorating for you. So, all four of those cards are a part of that completion lesson for you. And I have your totem card here that goes with that reading, and your totem is the whale spirit. As soon as I picked this card out of the deck, I said, this is for Capricorn, for sure, for certain. And the words that I got from it as soon as I picked it out is the mother of the deep. The mother of the deep. So what this tells me, Capricorn, is that you understand things at a very deep level. The sign of Capricorn is the goat on one end and the fish on the other. And the fish deals with emotions. A lot of times people don't really remember that Capricorn has that deep emotion ability, and it's because out front you are the goat. Out front you are the, you got the tuft and the horns and you're heading up the mountain and all of that kind of stuff. But Capricorns are very emotional creatures as well. And so this whale energy reminds us of the depth. It reminds us, to me, it reminds me of this right here, what you've put in the bank, what you know, what you have been privy to, and what you've been privy to has taken you to some very deep levels. Not only has it taken you to deep levels, but it has almost made you a master of that domain, the mother of the deep, the one that understands and feels and knows and nurtures and feeds and continues to command the deep. And I think the whale represents that. The whale is the largest mammal, the largest animal in the ocean that we know of, and it is also the largest mammal. And so when we think about the mammal and mammalian, what we associate with mammals is feeding their young, being able to nurse your young from yourself, and so or feed your young from yourself. And so this idea of nurturing and giving and being able to constantly be a resource of nurturing and nourishment to other people is a part of your walk, not just and I feel like this is not so much just for January in 2020, but it's a reflecting point for you to understand that you have been walking with this, with the spirit of the whale this whole entire time. And because of that, there are things that you know, and there are ways that you can give like no other, because you have a deeper understanding of what's going on around you. So this whale energy is really really powerful. It's a gentle, free-flowing animal. Remember to be in your flow. Remember to be gentle with yourself, and remember that that the grace. It's such a huge animal, and Capricorns have such a huge spirit, but you move with grace and poise in spite of it. And so I think that's a really powerful totem. All right, so I am going to pause for a second. That's been your medicine wheel with the animal totem card to go with that. And again, Capricorn, you've got a couple of totems. The hawk totem showed up at the end, but we also have hummingbird and we have whale. So you'll be walking with those spirit animals throughout January and through the year. Use them as a reflecting point. Go to National Geographic or go online and look up these animals, learn about their habitat, learn about their habits, how their behaviors. Something in the way that the animal is and behaves in its natural habitat will help you understand how you're going to move and behave throughout the month of January. Okay, I'm going to pause it because this is getting really long, and I'm going to get to the I Ching, and then we'll do the wealth reading and the love reading, and we'll close it out. Just a pause, and I'll be right back. All right, so I am going to do an I Ching reading. I like I Ching. I Ching is a different divination method. You can do build a hexagram. It's a Chinese tradition. For those of you who don't know this already, it is a Chinese divination method. The beginnings of it were counting of yarrow sticks. So, like, you know how you take cards, or you take the tarot and you know, randomly shuffle it and pick a card. Well, what you would do is randomly count out sticks, and then the sticks would correspond to certain numbers or a certain line in the hexagram, and then that line, after you do certain number of lines, then it corresponds to a passage in the I Ching text, and then you read the text, and then after you read the text, that'll give you some enlightenment about what's going on. I like to use I Ching not so much for little questions, but for bigger overarching questions. So I brought this in this time because I want us to get kind of like a full sense of maybe what's going on in January, and then also for you throughout the year, and give you a general overview of things that you might want to be looking out for and things that you might want to be paying close attention to. Okay, so I pull a card. This is, again, I said there was counting sticks, and then later on with I Ching there was the 3 coins. So people may know about the coin method, throwing the coins, but then of course we have had another advancement with cards and using the card method for the I Ching. I am reading from Klaus Holitzka's I Ching, which I really, really like. The images, the ink and pen drawings, I really love. So if you want to check out the art of the deck, I did an art of the deck, which is a flip through and review of Klaus Holitzka. So if you want to take a look at the images in this deck, you can look at the art of the deck in this on this channel. Gosh, I feel like I'm like, where are all the words? All right, I'm gonna grab my glasses over here, and I've already selected your card when I moved away, or when I shifted, or when I paused the video, or whatever it was that I was doing to get that card out. So I got the card, and your card is number 62. So I'll be reading the main passage from passage number 62 for you. But before we get there, I just want to let you gaze at this image. I'm definitely seeing a tightrope walker here. So balance is important. I'm seeing 2 points of balance, male and female, but then I'm also seeing this other point of balance here, which creates the triad, or the triangle going up. The triangle going up represents the prayers that you're making to spirit, and then how then that creates the manifestation. So remember, we talked about the energy of the hummingbird and the manifestation happening for you, and I feel like balance is somehow important, but I'm not going to go by that. That's just me looking at the image as an intuitive, but the passage from that we're going to read is really going to give you the I Ching message. So I'm going to read from you from that passage number 62, and then I'm going to pull another card, which will give us some changing lines, and then those lines will just give us a little deeper a deeper message here, so that those of you who have individual situations might get a little bit more information about that. I guess that's the best way to describe it. All right, so number 62 is the predominance of the small. This sign brings to mind the fact that the small and apparently unimportant things are often decisive. The drop which brings the cup to overflow is a tiny one, but one generating a tremendous effect. Wow, that is like right in alignment with that wind. Remember, I said there's things that may have been unseen, unnoticed, very small things, but they have a tremendous effect. So sharpen your eye for detail. You will then understand better the superordinate context as well. Ordinate, order. Learn to read what is written between the lines of life. It is not enough merely to bear in mind the great and significant things. Incidentally, your chances of achieving a great success are minimal at present, so it is not about great success at this time. So quite consciously pay attention to the finer details. For instance, look closely at everything to do with relationships which you consider to be self-evident. Nor is there any reason to hide your light under a bushel. Dignity lies in the simplicity of the noble, says a Chinese proverb. Dignity lies in the simplicity of the noble. And I'm going back to the whale. The whale energy is coming back through to me. I feel it very, very intensely. I'm feeling it like right in here. Um, and I think things have been pretty heavy in that regard for you, and I'm feeling the heaviness of it. But what the nobility, this word noble is important. Reading between the lines is important. Having an eye for detail is important. And knowing that these tiny, tiny things that happen, these unnoticed things that happen, are really going to eventually create a situation where there is an overflow. So in January, if you're looking for a great, profound sense of success, that may not be there for you, but you have to see the importance and the predominance in the small things. So looking at the small things, what are the little things? What are the unnoticed things? What are the things that you may or may not be seeing in yourself and in the situation that you're in? Very powerful message there, and I felt that all the way. I felt that from here to here. So I felt it all the way from my throat chakra, from my heart chakra and my throat chakra. So I would do heart and throat chakra alignments, aligning your heart with your throat. And to me, what that means is going to that core self. Like after you do that alignment with that arrow, and you're really clear about your position, and you're really understanding that those little tiny things that were unseen are a part of the bigger picture or the filling of a bigger cup. Yeah, that whole stuff has to be connected to your throat, and your throat chakra is your expression. So you need to be able to express that. You have to be able to express it. And I was feeling it um, like it was like this. So Capricorn, I think that you've got to really express yourself from your heart. Speak from your heart. When you speak from your heart. Don't not speak from your heart, ever, in the whole month of January. I don't care if somebody says, what do you want for dinner? I want you to go to your heart and say, you know what? In my heart, I want a hamburger. Okay. All right, so I am going to pull one more card for the changing card. Oh, I like this one too, Capricorn. Somebody building. And you know what? I never noticed this in this card before until right now. It's like he's building something, but there's another building being built on high. Oh my gosh, I've never noticed that in that card. So it's almost like from your imagination you are building. And then when you're building on the ground, it creates mansions in heaven. It creates mansions in other places.